Good morning, children. Today we are going to discuss the phenomena of hysteresis in magnetic materials. Okay, now and what is the significance of the area of the hysteresis loop? We have to also write down the practical importance of this hysteresis. Now, what is hysteresis? Okay, first of all, let us understand the what is meant by the process. Okay, when a ferromagnetic sample is placed in the magnetizing field, the sample gets magnetized by the induction method. As the magnetizing field intensity H varies, we can see that the magnetizing field intensity is going to change, and the magnetic induction B does not vary linearly with the H. That means the permeability is not constant but varies with respect to H. In fact, it depends on the past history of the sample. This is also very important point. Now, in this diagram, we can show here the variation of the magnetic induction B with the magnetizing field intensity H. Okay, now you can see here the point O is the initial unmagnetized state of a ferromagnetic sample. So what is the process here? We are going to magnetize the ferromagnetic substance, and again we are going to demagnetizing the ferromagnetic substance. Okay, now as the magnetizing field intensity H increases, you can see here as the magnetizing field intensity H goes on increasing in this manner, isn't it? The magnetic induction first increases. You can see that as H is increasing and B is also increasing. So H is increasing, B is increasing. Okay, after a certain value of H, or at a certain value of H, now B attains a constant value. You can see here at point A, B attains a constant value. Okay, and in other words, we can say that the magnetic induction B saturates at the certain value of positive H max, isn't it? Okay, so in this way we can see that here O to A, this region is due to change in the H, and due to that the substance is getting magnetized up to a certain maximum value, isn't it? Okay, now if the magnetizing field intensity H is gradually decreased, because we have started with O to A. Now after reaching to the saturation magnetizing field and saturation magnetic induction, we are slowly go on decreasing the magnetizing field intensity. So you can see that the magnetic field intensity, magnetizing field intensity is going on decreasing. Okay, and then H is also gradually decreasing to 0. So you can see that the H is going to decrease at this place. Okay, but B is not going to be 0. You can see that although H is 0 at the point B, isn't it? But B value is not 0. So the new path opted by that material to get it from path A to B, okay, along this path, it is found that the magnetic induction B does not become 0. Now what happens here? Here, although I have made H 0, but B is not becoming 0. Okay, even if the magnetizing field H is 0. So H is becoming 0, but B is not 0. B is having certain value still remain. So that means the material is having a certain magnetic induction remained inside that material. Okay, so the sample is not getting completely demagnetized, although the magnetizing field has removed. That means we have made H 0, but still B is not reaching to 0, and B is certain value of B is magnetic induction is remained inside that ferromagnetic material. So the magnetic induction OB, you can see here magnetic induction OB left behind in the sample after magnetizing field is removed or made 0 is called as a residual magnetism or retentivity or reminiscence. Okay, so that's what we can see from this particular diagram, that OB is the part which represents in this curve, that is retentivity. Also it is called as a residual magnetism. What is residue? Residue means left, the magnetism left in the ferromagnetic material although H is becoming 0. Okay, now the third point we are going to start, because we are going to now from we have moved from A to B, then O to A, then A to B, and now we are going to change it, isn't it? Now to do this, we are going to reduce the magnetism to 0, because this magnetism, whatever is remained in that ferromagnetic material, we are trying to make it 0. We want to bring it to the 0. Okay, so that's what the field H is gradually increased in the reverse direction. Now this is very, very important, that how the H value is going to be increased in the reverse direction. We know that when this complete process is going on, we are going to keep this ferromagnetic material in the electromagnet. And we know that whenever in the electromagnet the current passes in one direction, then the magnetic field is produced according to that. And if we reverse the direction of the current in the electromagnet, then obviously the poles which are produced by that electromagnetism are going to change, are going to reverse. So in that manner, if we are going to reverse the direction of the current in the electromagnet, okay, that is solenoid, and then we are going to increase that magnetizing field, whatever is generated that time, that is increasing slowly in the reverse direction, then the magnetic induction B automatically goes on decreasing, because now we have applied the reverse magnetizing field, and due to the impact of the reverse magnetizing field, that particular material now starts reducing its magnetic induction, isn't it? Now after slowly from B to C, the magnetic induction at C point, you can see that it is becoming 0, isn't it? Okay, now the induction decreases and becomes 0 at the value of H is equal to O to C. Okay, so this value of reverse magnetizing field intensity H required to for the residual magnetism of a sample to become 0 is called as a corrosivity of the material. So these are the new terms you have to keep in mind for especially for the hysteresis. That is, OB is the magnetism or magnetic induction remained in the particular ferromagnetic substance, although we are going to make H 0. Okay, and to make this B value, that is magnetic induction 0, we are going to reverse the magnetizing field and increase it. Okay, so reversing and increasing after some time, or after that particular process, the residual magnetism has now become 0, and at that time we have applied the reverse magnetizing field, that is O to C, isn't it? And that particular value of O to C, this value is called as the corrosivity of the sample. Okay, now we have reached from O to A to B, now B to C. Okay, now again we are going to change this pattern, and we are going to go on increasing the reverse magnetizing field. Okay, so suppose we further go on increasing the reverse magnetizing field, okay, in the reverse direction, then we are going to reach to a certain highest maximum value, but that is a negative H max. You can see that from C to D we are increasing the H value, but in the negative direction. That means reverse field is applied for that particular substance, ferromagnetic substance. Now reaching to minus H max, what happens? Again, the saturation point D is located symmetrically to the point A. Okay, now if H is decreased, again we are going to decrease it, means we are moving slowly from D to E. Okay, that means the H max minus H max, now we are going to change it. Okay, we are going to change it, and we are going to the point again. Okay, so now if H is decreased, gradually the point A is reached, so we are going to H go decrease, and then we are going to get the point A reached after going through the path D, E, F, A. Okay, now again we are going to revise this process. So we have started from O, reached to A, then from A, B, C, D, E, F, A, we have completed one path, isn't it? Okay, so this complete path represents the cycle of magnetization of a ferromagnetic sample. Okay, and this particular loop is called as the hysteresis loop. You can see that it is a loop, it is a closed loop, okay, of magnetization of the ferromagnetic substance, and that loop is called as a hysteresis loop. You can see that every time, you can see that throughout the cycle the magnetic field B lags behind the magnetizing field intensity H, isn't it? So if we are going to change H, then H is increasing, but simultaneously B is not exactly increasing. So H is always ahead, H is always ahead, and B is lagging behind, isn't it? So the value of B when H is decreasing is always more than that of H increasing. Therefore, the phenomena of lagging of magnetic induction B behind the magnetizing field intensity, that is H, is called as a hysteresis. Now the word only hysteresis explains that it is a Greek word, and it is its meaning is called as a delayed. So who is delaying here? Magnetic induction B is delaying than that of the H. So H is always ahead and B is always lagging behind, that is delayed, and that's what this meaning of the hysteresis is, nothing but delayed. Okay, now we are going to revise these steps, so that I have written here one by one. I will read so that you can understand and you can see it. As the magnetizing field intensity H increases, the magnetic induction B first gradually increases and then attains to a constant value. In other words, the magnetic induction B saturates at a certain value of plus H max, and it is represented by OA. Second point now, the magnetizing field intensity H is gradually decreased to 0. Okay, but B decreases, but along the new path, that is A to B. Okay, it is found that the magnetic induction B does not become 0 even when the H is 0. I have made H 0, but B is not 0. Therefore, the magnetic induction is equal to OB, which is left behind in the sample after the magnetizing field is removed, is called retentivity or reminiscence or residual magnetism. Okay, now to reduce this magnetism to 0, the field H is gradually increased in the reverse direction. Then the induction B goes on decreasing. You can see that the induction B is going on decreasing and becomes 0 at the value of H is equal to OC. The value of reverse magnetizing field intensity H required for residual magnetism to become 0, isn't it, is called as a corrosivity. So OC is corrosivity and OB is retentivity. Okay, now the fourth point again I will discuss here. On further increasing H, on further increasing H means I am traveling from C to D. On further increasing from H in the reverse direction, the value of minus H max reaches. We reach the saturation point D, located symmetrically to the point A. Just how A is the saturation point, similarly D is also saturation point attained at the minus H max value. Okay, now if H is decreased gradually, the point A is again reached after going through the path D, E, F, A. So this closed curve is called as a hysteresis loop. Okay, so hysteresis is nothing but the delay process. So what is the actually practical importance of this hysteresis? This is very important, okay, because by using this particular concept and the procedure only, we can generate the different types of magnets. It may be electromagnet, it may be strong magnet, it may be temporary magnet, it may be permanent magnet. So what are the practical importance of this? Okay, the study of hysteresis loop provides us information about the retentivity, that is OB, information about corrosivity, okay, and then hysteresis loss of the magnetic material. This helps in proper selection of the material for designing the cores of the transformers and the electromagnets and in making the permanent magnets, as I said. Okay, now we are going to find out here what is meant by the hysteresis loss. Okay, now you can see that the product of B into H, the product of B into H is nothing but the dimensions of the energy per unit volume. Okay, so the area within this BH curve, this complete area within this BH curve or loop represents the energy dissipated per unit volume in the material when it is carried through a cycle of magnetization. So this is a complete cycle of magnetization. Okay, so the source is the source of EMF used in the magnetizing material. Okay, as I said you, whenever we are using the source to magnetize or demagnetize that particular ferromagnet, we are using a solenoid. That means we have to pass the current through solenoid, and then we are going to have this particular ferromagnet. We are going to convert it into the particular magnetization process, isn't it? So the source used is the source of EMF for magnetizing the material, isn't it? And we know that this particular sink is the hysteresis heat loss in the magnetic material. So during this complete cycle of magnetization and demagnetization, isn't it, this complete circle, this complete curve is having the hysteresis heat loss. So some part of the heat is lost during this particular magnetizing as well as the demagnetizing this particular ferromagnetic material. Okay, now let us go for the another concept. That means we are going to find out here the soft ferromagnetic material and the hard ferromagnetic material. Okay, what is the example and what is the difference between their hysteresis loop? Okay, so let us go for first of all soft ferromagnets. Okay, or soft ferromagnetic material. Okay, now these are the ferromagnetic materials in which the magnetization disappears on the removal of external magnetizing field. That means these are the materials which are called as a soft ferromagnetic material. These are the materials in which the magnetization disappears once we remove the external magnetizing field. Now such a materials have the narrow hysteresis loop. You can see that this is a very narrow hysteresis loop. The area under the loop is very less, isn't it? Okay, so this particular area is nothing but the narrow hysteresis loop, and specifically we can identify if the hysteresis loop is narrow, then they are the soft ferromagnetic material. Okay, consequently they have the low retentivity. Okay, so they have the low retentivity. You can see here the value of retentivity. If I show you this value of retentivity is less. At the same time the value of corrosivity is also less, and they have the low hysteresis loss, isn't it? So the area under the graph is less, so it is the heat loss is less. Okay, but they have very high relative magnetic permeability. They are used as the cores of the solenoids and transformers. Okay, so soft iron, then soft iron especially is called as the soft ferromagnet or soft ferromagnetic material. Now you will go for the second one, that is called as a hard ferromagnetic material or hard ferromagnets. What is this? Okay, you can see the difference between these two hysteresis graphs also. Now these are the ferromagnetic materials which retain magnetism even after the removal of the external magnetizing field, that is H, isn't it? And such a materials have wide hysteresis loop. That means what is there? They have high retentivity. You can see that this is a high retentivity as compared to this, and they have the large corrosivity also. So corrosivity is also larger, and they have high hysteresis loss. You can see the area also is a larger area of hysteresis loop. Okay, so the materials which are having high corrosivity, high retentivity and large hysteresis loss, such a materials are called as a hard ferromagnets, and specifically they are used for making the permanent magnets. Okay, so permanent magnets are generally made up of the Alnico alloys, Ticonal alloy, lodestone or steel. So hard magnets, hard ferromagnets are steel, Alnico, lodestone and Ticonal. Okay, so we can differentiate between the two graphs, which are the soft ferromagnets and which are the hard ferromagnets, which are used as a temporary magnets or electromagnets, which are used for the permanent magnets. And specifically these two graphs, this type of graphs are asked for 1 mark question to identify the type of the material, or to identify whether the material is used for electromagnet purpose or for the that is permanent magnet purpose. Thank you.